How many saw the animation before logging in the lobby? You can see some animation. We're going to do some of that today. The animation isn't as detailed as what we're going to do inside of the body, but it will give us some idea. But let's start with something else. So just take a second, allow your feet to touch, and bring your head top to its highest point. So this is, in the beginning when we're learning Tai Chi, it's very complex. There's a lot of different ideas. So we can make things easy for ourselves by breaking it down to the simplest components. Yin and Yang is a binary. So when you're practicing, if you like to go to practice and you have difficulty remembering all of these details, you can break it down to the most basic, pushing up through the head top and connecting your feet to the ground. And then the 2 implies 3. So with the head top up and the feet down, we have to have a center. So if you put your mind in the center and your feet are rooted and your head top is up, your body will adjust naturally on its own. The shoulders and hips will find their level. So with the feet connected, the head top up, breathing, the hands only raising to about the shoulder level, and we want the wrists and elbows also. So sometimes people, when we're practicing this one, because there's some yoga asana that has this kind of big type of thing, and the hands are together and they're actually pressing together, and we're pressing inwards to the heart. This is different. So this one is almost, think of the action of jump rope, right? If you let your arms like the ropes, and breathing, a small movement from the center sends the energy all the way, and then brings the hands together at the center. And the base of the palms connecting first. Because remember, in Tai Chi, the power is coming from the structure. And so the structure for the hands is coming from the arms. So the wrists resting first. Hang on a second, let me have somebody in the waiting room. And I can't let them in. Why? So, the base of the palms connected first. The fingertips kind of aren't as important. And then the fingertips resting lightly. So this means that the palms supporting each other. The one side leaning against the other. And it's balanced. This means that you can relax your shoulders. You can relax your elbows. And even though they're relaxed, there's the circle, this round circle, has energy inside of it, so there's a small space inside the armpit. And then feel that your mind, if it's in the center, is supporting. And that if your back is straight, the energy can go all the way up. There's a weird, just like when we talk about the head top, is it a string? Does it feel like there's a string pulling up from the top? Or does it feel like we're pushing from the inside, going up this way? The same thing, your head top, when you have your back straight and the energy is going up, some teachers may say your head feels heavy. You feel the weight of your head. And so by breathing and inflating your body with chi, you can support the weight of your head with the energy. Or another way to look at it, the sort of opposite way, is your head becomes very light and is supported by the chi. So whether we say it's yin or yang, whether you feel the weight of your head and it's heavy and we push up through it, or whether because the neck is straight, the head becomes lightweight. Which one is it? Bringing the feet together, the hands together, the head top up. Now do the same thing with the whole body, from the feet, the energy supporting all the way to the head top. Breathing while just standing here in Tai Chi Harmony. Imagine doing the same. When we start, a lot of times we do this kind of long Qigong breathing, waving the arms around. Do the same thing internally. So as you inhale, like filling a balloon. The inhale, you retain more energy than the exhale. And so keep your mind in the center. Whatever your breathing strategy is, keep your mind in the dantian. I'll exaggerate, like you're inflating on the inhale, and when you exhale, just a little bit. And on the inhale, inflate more. And when you exhale, just a little bit. You're exhaling all the way, but when we talk about expansion and contraction, we're expanding. And the contraction is just a little bit. And then relax. Let's do something before we do a little bit of stretching and Tai Chi. The exercise that we saw in the animation, I was playing it the other day as well, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it. So imagine, if you see my foot, imagine that you're going to roll your foot on the outer perimeter from the heel to the toe. So like I'm making a half circle with my foot. And then it's ending forward with my knee pointing forward with the toe. And then I'm going to shift the energy from the front of my toe to the rear heel on the other side. And so then, starting again from this side, making a half circle with the foot to the front, and then transferring that energy diagonally to the rear and making, again, a half circle going to the front. So the name for that animation, if you look it up, I think it's on the Vimeo site, it may actually be on the TC Society website as well, it was titled the Infinity X animation. So you can think of it, if I'm facing the camera square, like an infinity sign or a figure 8, the energy is traveling around. It crosses the center line this way, and then traveling around here and going this way. So we're putting the weight on the perimeter of the foot, bringing it back to the heel, to the knife edge of the foot, to the toes, back to the heel, to the outside edge, to the toes, back to the heel, to the outside edge, to the toes. And so now, while we're practicing this, I want you to try to maintain all of the same Tai Chi ideas. Keep the hips level. That means that when we shift back to this corner, we have to cut the inside of the hip. And then the same thing when we sink back to this corner to keep the hips level. And we can turn them in this one, but keep your shoulders level, keep your head in the same place. And so just find the figure 8, the infinity symbol shifting. One to the other corner. You can think of it as 4 corners. And the heel to the front corner here, and to this back corner, and to this front corner here. And then, after you've done it for a second, change directions. And by the way that we're doing this is we're moving our center line. Keep working. If I use a stick to represent where my center is, it's also drawing that figure 8. So I want to keep my spine straight, going around the front, shifting to the back, coming up through the center, around to the back, from the heel, going forward to the toe. Something like this. This is, by the way, this kind of micro adjustment in where the weight positioning is on the feet. The weight should be centered in the foot when the foot is resting. So if you come back, if you bring your feet back to the center and you plant one side or the other, doesn't matter, and you grip the ground and you raise the other foot, the weight inside this foot, the standing foot, is in the center. So can you change? Can you make that small loop from your toes back to your heel? Can you shift the weight forward on the foot and then shift it back, forward, back, but without changing, keep so that nobody can see from the outside. You're changing where your balance is on the center, just on one foot. Try the other side, relax, take a deep breath, And then on the other side, the same thing. Center your feet. Use one to support. Keep everything in the center. And then find the center first. Find where the dead center in the middle of your foot is. Relax your tailbone. Breathe deep. And then can you make a change internally inside the foot? Can you shift forward, back, forward? This is when we're practicing Tai Chi. You can take a break, relax, breathe. When we're brush knee press, we can be making this kind of change. This figure 8 is an example, is one example, just like the breathing pattern. There's many ideas. For day to day and for beginners, we just want to be keeping the weight in the center of the foot. But then later, especially when we get into something like push hands situation, where we want to conceal our center from the opponent. So one way to do that is to use the hands as a defense, use the structure as a defense for the center, and then also by shifting the weight underneath the feet so we can keep the root and energetically support it. So when we practice in the beginning, if I face this direction, grasp the sparrow's tail, and ward off, I can be shifting, and then as the power comes back around to this side, like a spiral that goes into the center, down, and then when I step, see, I have my root, it's centered and weighted. By spiraling the energy into the ground. Right? Does everyone here have some idea about stepping in Taiji? Let's practice. If we face one direction, if I'm in the center, generally in Tai Chi when we're stepping forward, we use the heel, goes forward. And when we're stepping backwards, usually the toe. And the main idea for transferring weight in Tai Chi is to keep balance, the root. When we talk about sidestepping, it can be either way, and this is a stylistic choice. If we're doing cloud hands, we can step on the heel and then take the root this way, establish the weight change. Or when we step cloud hands, we can check with the toe, right? Usually the toe is a sensor. Like when we talk about cats walking, if you ever watch a cat or an animal walk into a liquid, right? They will step into something wet, they withdraw their toe or they shake. The same thing, when we're stepping backwards, we don't know what's there. It's better to check. But when we're stepping forward, we should know. So we can plant the heel right away, right? There may be circumstances where we do the heel first. There may be circumstances, in Bagua it's considered good Bagua to keep the foot level the whole time. So this and Bagua principles applying to Tai Chi. So anyway, getting back to the X step, transferring from one heel to the toe. Heel, outside edge, toe. This should give you some impression of your feet. We've been working on increasing the quality, sensitivity, and strength of the feet. Let's go back to the center. Line everything up. Bring your hands together in the center. Take a deep breath. And then just relax your arms, reaching one hand to the opposite ear, keeping everything in line, and then extending. Pull both elbows apart. Reach through the fingertips in line. Line up your nose, your elbow, and your thumb. And then stretch like you're reaching through a glove, through a sleeve. And then change breathing. You can time this with the breathing, you don't have to. But you can make it so on your inhale, you're fully stretched, and you can stretch through more than one breath. And then change, we'll do one more on each side. You should have some sensation in your fingertips, your hand, your wrist, your forearm, maybe all the way to the bicep. You're stretching your whole arm, your whole side out. and then changing, going the other direction. Let's actually try this same stretch one more time. How many here have heard me been talking about the term, how many here have heard me talk about the term Tong Bei? When we're talking about one arm, if power is coming into one arm, that forces the other arm to go out. So as if these two things are connected. We're talking about it there's a posture called San Tong Bei, which is this idea of one is turning through the torso, fan through the back. So like one continuous line from one side to the other. We're talking about it in the Kung Fu, but it's also in Tai Chi Harmony. So this should feel like one circle. If you have the feeling of the fingertips going through Lao Gong, whether you go in the front to the heart chakra or the back through the heart chakra and then coming out the other side and going through here. When we have this circle, it's in Tai Chi Harmony as well. So energetically the palms are connected. And this is in every posture in Tai Chi, Tong Bei. So we want to feel like when we're practicing, if one hand is turning, one arm doesn't become longer than the other or more active. They're balanced and they're working together. So when this is changing, this hand doesn't become more active. The other hand has to come underneath to work with it. Even though it's the yin hand, it's waiting. This is the yang hand, it's working. And then when they change, so this Tong Bei means it's just one, right? We don't actually have two arms. We have one, you can think of it as a ring that sort of wraps this way. And we can take that ring and we can unwrap it and unwind it for something like a crane, right? If you look from the top down, if I just bend the waist, this is the same circle we have here, right? So Tong Bei, Tai Chi principle is in every posture. When we practice this one, try to feel, if we go back to the center, allow your feet to touch. And then starting on one side or the other, feel the Tong Bei. Feel from your one fingertips all the way to the other fingertips. And then like you're taking the golden ring and you're twisting one end up and over. And then like a pry bar, using it to pull back here. It's a weird analogy, it's a weird idea. But it's one piece, breathing deep. And then change, relax, do the other side. The same thing, except this time I want you to remember the concept of Tong Bei. The fan that goes through the back, from the fingertips. Open your back while you push up through the head top. Breathe deep. Tuck in your chin. One piece. And then relax. You feel some different idea when you put the idea of Tong Bei. Let's work on the head and neck. So lock your shoulders into place. In fact, I want you to put if you can, reach the ends of your collarbone, and I want you to put your fingertips right around the outside of the bone, where the muscle connects to the bone. And I want you to just turn your head top. And by the way, if you have issues with your neck, only turn a little bit. You can do a small movement, but if everything's healthy, try to find the extents. And feel in the fingertips, where your fingers are connected to your deltoids and to your collarbones. Feel how that tissue is moving, it's connected to your head top. And then ask yourself if you can actually relax it. Breathe deep, remember to change, going the other direction. Put all of your fingertips onto the surface of your skin to feel all of the parts are interconnected. You'll feel from different areas as you turn, different parts connecting to the top. Did we change directions already? Yeah. Let's do another one. Now this one, same thing, keep all of your fingers connected. This is another Tai Chi principle. When we're practicing Tai Chi, we always use all of the fingers. You may watch Tai Chi or have studied Tai Chi with somebody, and when they practice, They may leave some fingers out of the equation, like they're only using the first three. And there's a reason for that later. It's a much more advanced principle where there's some acupuncture meridians in these last two that if we use too much grip, those are sensors, and they're not meant for super gripping. But when we do Tai Chi, when it's self-defense, we use all parts. So when we do hook and whip, we use all 5 fingers. This is the same if you're rock climbing, right? You use as many fingers as you can get a hold of. There's some places where there's only enough to get 1 or 2 fingers, and so you can use that to do the thing. But when we can, we use all 5. So the same way, Tai Chi principle, use all 5 fingers. And I want you to lock the waist, but the same thing, turning like a bamboo, growing from the center upwards and outwards. And see if you can get all of the tissue in your back to be relaxed enough to feel the same thing you felt on your collarbones. It's all connected. So feel where there's a pull and muscle and tendons around your waist, or where your fingertips are connected to the body. And when you free your torso this way, you'll find there's just certain areas that are snagged. It's in your neck, it's in your mid-back, it's in your upper shoulders. But you feel the rest of it is loose and open. So breathing, like pulling apart a fiberglass rope, you want to pull apart the strands that are stuck, pushing up through the head top, breathing deep. And then come back to the center, and this time connect all 5 fingers. It can be light, it can be energetic, to the sides of the legs. Grip your feet, but relax the bottoms of your feet. And then the same thing, use your whole body, like the bamboo turning around the center. Gripping the ground, and feel like a rope. If you pull one end and you start to twist it, you can feel the fibers further down the rope also being affected. So push up through the head top, relax your shoulders. You can feel already the areas that are more tight. Imagine that tightness, like if you haven't changed directions, change directions. You can turn the head as much as you feel safe to do. Remember to breathe, long breathing. Come back to the center, take a deep breath, relax. We're going to bend at the waist just one time, so let's do it right, and then we're going to stretch the legs, and then we're going to do Tai Chi. So grip the feet, push your tailbone away, let your spine open, all of the vertebrae, and let gravity do its work. This means that you can actually relax to work out. It does take mental effort. Remember to stay connected to the ground. Remember to breathe, and really let your head relax. Don't try to look up. Instead, point your crown chakra to the ground. Let your shoulders relax. Feel the energy traveling in your back. Long breathing. We're only doing this one time, so remember to make it count. When you're ready, grip the ground with your feet and inhale. We're going to inflate all the way up, just like we started with the breathing exercise, like you can inflate your body with. Make the pressure all the way to the fingertips at the top, and then let everything relax. Grip the ground with one foot. Actually, let's bring them together so we can do this as a I'm going to face 45 so that you can see and that you have some clear idea. If I'm starting with my feet together, I can just put one forward this way, but I can also step square and step here. If you keep the feet together, it may help to turn one slightly 45 as you step this forward. Keep this leg in line. Push your tailbone back in the way. We want to reach over. You can use this leg to support if you need to. Remember to breathe, and this is self-defense. So don't push so much that you have an injury. If your practice makes you worse, what good is it? Breathe deep, and then when you're ready, push through the rear foot and you can just stand up straight. By the way, when we do that, lead the power with the head top. We're going to do something on the other side as well. So for me, I'm turning the foot out 45, stepping straight forward, push the tailbone back, keep the knee and the toe in line, reaching. You can support yourself if you need to, breathing deep. And then one thing or the other. If you have your chin up, then extend it towards your toes and your fingertips. If you have your head down, push your crown towards the toes and the fingertips. Breathing deep. And then when you're ready, push up through the head top, pushing forward, stepping up straight. We're going to do one more on each side, this time hitting. So, the same if I start with my feet together, I turn 45, grip the ground, push the other foot forward, tailbone goes back. And then this one, again, you can support. Make sure your toe is lined up with the knee, and then just tapping the back of the leg. You may feel one area that needs more work. And then breathing deep, pushing forward. And then the other side, same thing. Make sure that you get everything lined up. Get into the stretch safely. And then take your time. It's still a stretch. In fact, the more the stretch, the more effective the tapping is. Remember to breathe. And take the time to hit the areas where your body needs it the most. And then push forward, standing up, grip your toes. Bring everything back to the center. Bring your hands back to the center. Take a second to breathe, and then relax. Questions, thoughts, comments? Somebody's been practicing, working on something, you have some idea that you'd like to work on. Okay, let's do, for the beginners among us, it's always good to review. For people that are more advanced, what we were just working on, this weight transfer thing, you can be practicing either this particular one or some other, whether you move it from this toe to this toe, back to this corner, up to the front, or shifting it from back to front, from rear to corner to toe, making a triangle in one direction. Many ideas. Let's go over, I want to review the movements that repeat throughout the form. It's because this is useful for people that don't know the form well enough. A lot of times it's frustrating. You go, what direction, what's happening, what are they doing? But if you can remember the chorus, if you can remember the part that repeats all the time, and it's good for us to review, we can ask questions about different ideas. And for people that are newer, anytime you hear the term rollback, we have this sort of series of 8 postures, 8 to 10 depending on how you split them up, 8 to 12 depending on how you split them up, that repeat. And they're almost identical 8 different times throughout the form. So let's review what those are from the beginning, and we'll talk about basics. So if I'm just off of the center, when I open, feet shoulder width wide, here I'm stepping with my toe first, and then immediately sinking the tailbone so that it's level and straight. And from here, from the ready stance, we have the same circle, whether you have the hands sideways or whether you have them horizontal or vertical, doesn't matter. Breathing deep, I'm shifting from my heel to the center of my foot on the left. This is grasp the sparrow's tail. And then stepping forward to ward off. And now again, shifting like a circle around the back. This is grasp the sparrow's tail. Center the weight on the left foot. Step forward. Grip the ground, expand. This is ward off. Breathing deep. Roll back. Adjust the feet accurately, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Join the palms, turn. Press through the center. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal. Split hands. Hook. Single whip. That basic pattern in this form repeats 8 times. So you can think there's 8 times, 8 postures. That's 64 postures of the 108. Once you know the 8, you don't have to think about those other 64 items. So if I face a different direction, if I face diagonally, so I'm going in this direction, when I'm starting this form, my weight is changing from one side to the other, and both hands working. How many here have done what we call silk reeling exercise, this type of thing? For Mark in Malibu, I may have taught it as, and maybe for Charlotte from Westwood, we did something called monk waving the sleeves, right? This is coming from Grandmaster Sha's Jianchen Ichi Bafa. There's one, like the monk, if you imagine a heavy sleeve, a very long, sometimes they have the long, like a wizard's robe, right? The sleeve. And they whip. So you want to have the feeling of this kind of, the monk waving the sleeves, something like this. But this is also, we can use this as a Chansi exercise. Chansi in the Mandarin means like silk. And the action, the silk action means silk reeling in English is translated. So make your feet parallel. Make your knees lined up. Relax your tailbone. The hips are also parallel. And then just shifting by sinking the inside of the hip. My hip stays level from one side to the other side. My hip doesn't go past this line. This is like a straight line. And then it comes back. So this is the importance of feeling your weight on the ground. On Wednesday, we had talked about adjusting your feet. So while we practice just shifting, like you're sitting. So like you're sitting right on the edge. There's the edge of the chair, the edge of the bench. And you just want to sit just on the edge of it. And we're shifting from one side. So while we're shifting, adjust your feet. We said use the tendons on the top of your feet more. And the muscles on the bottom of your feet, leave them relaxed. And the example that I like to use is, it's morning and breakfast is, I like to think about pancakes or waffles. Because it's like a natural thing that has a spring or a cushion, and it's also delicious for breakfast. So imagine the bottoms of your feet, just like the pancake or the waffle. There's a certain padding, and it's about the same density, the same thickness, right, for most people. And so, yeah, for some people, you can see Aaron practicing a cloud hands, grasp the sparrow's tail, ward off. But instead of just drawing the circles, extend the arm just a bit so that if this is straight, this is out to the side, turning. So this is sort of the basis for the Tai Chi form, shifting from one side. And whether we make an X shape with the arms, or whether we turn more of the horizontal, or whether we turn more of the circle. Now let's go back to the beginning. If I face the 45 this way, we can start in Tai Chi Harmony, more traditional Chinese martial arts form starting this way. If we step shoulder width wide, and we have, this is opening commencement, is Tai Chi Chi Chi, the start. The hands can be round this way, but we should already be feeling that Tong Bei, the roundness through the arms. That way, when one side starts to coil, the other side is coming underneath. We have the movement happening the whole time, and then ward off. And then the same thing. Let's review. By the way, you notice grasp the sparrow's tail and ward off don't appear anywhere else in the set. That's because they're part of a push hands idea, rolling hands. This is this form is designed for basic health. You can practice this form all day and become very healthy. But the martial art is hidden. So the first two movements designed to get the student into a rolling hands type exercise. And ward off is the final result, is expanding the opponent away from us. So let's go again from the beginning. If we just step shoulder width wide, we sink the tailbone, and we let the whole structure go into its Tai Chi shape. And then breathing deep, this is grasp the sparrow's tail, ward off. Grasp the sparrow's tail, ward off. And then roll back. I'm turning my foot as if it's aligned to the grid. And then I shift the weight. And then, again, the same thing. I don't want my hip to go out to the side. I want to release the weight from the other foot and turn to that corner. Join the palms, turning the foot again. Press. Breathing. Push. Feel the difference of the weight in your feet. Is it in the center? And if not, can you control where it shifts? And can you make it fluid? Can you make it continuous in its turning? Horizontal split hand. Same thing. I turn the foot 90 degrees. My weight's over this rear leg so I can turn. Split. Hook. Side whip. Corner whip. So this is for people starting these movements. They're repeating. I'll face another direction. A lot of times happening after punch, fold knees, we have this roll back. My square. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split hands. Tong Bei. Hook. Single whip. So those movements repeating. Let's just go one more time. So from wherever the previous posture was, I have a roll back. I have press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Tong Bei, split hands. Horizontal, split hands. Some type of hook, and whether it's a forward, side, corner whip, we have some hook and whip. This is also, you'll find this same order, very, very similar ordering in other Yang style forms. I want to talk about one, unless there's any questions, some correlation between what we did what we were doing last Sunday and Wednesday, which is this fan through back, and something else which we regularly do, which is horizontal split hands, happening right away in the first section, in the first part of the first section. The only difference between those two in the feet is traveling. So if I'm facing the camera and I'm doing horizontal split hands from the first section, my feet appear to be near the edge of the screen. When I'm doing horizontal split hands, I step back. My square is here, and my hands here. Now I'm turning 90 degrees to split. In San Tong Bei, right, if I'm facing the camera, the same thing, and I've just done needle at the bottom of the C, my square goes forward. So let's look from the side here. Power is coming in this direction. I avoid it by stepping back. I make contact with it, and then I advance. I send it in the same direction it was coming from, along the axis. San Tombe, power is coming, we'll say it's straight, it's not an angle. So I avoid by stepping to the corner. I make contact, and I advance. One going backwards, turning a wheel this way. The other going forwards, turning the wheel this way. You can think of those two postures as sort of yin and yang with the directionality as far as the travel. If there is no questions, let's do Tai Chi. Let's do the first. Yeah, go ahead. But hang on one second. Go ahead.
So one of them would be like a right-hand attack or left-hand attack, and the other one's the opposite arm, isn't it? And you're opening up this one, you're in their face, and then when you're stepping back, their face is away. You're like pushing them away, right?
Yes, I think that's correct. One thing to remember in both is controlling the elbow, right? Because what you're saying is if you're going to be on the outside of the person, which is the objective, we don't want to be inside their space. We could be. But in horizontal split hands, this one hand is controlling the elbow. So as this other hand's controlling the wrist, this one's on the elbow. This is, by the way, for the Tai Chi CG demonstrations with two CG dummies. I think this is going to be one of the first ones that I illustrate because it's one of the more difficult ones to teach, especially remote distance. Grasp the sparrow's tail and punch are easy, right? If you punch like this, if somebody punches that towards your center, if you turn to catch this way, right, like a fan blade that's going to end up wrapping, that's a pretty easy one to understand. In fact, we can do it for ourselves. If I punch myself, take your left hand and reach towards your center to punch, and then bring your right hand in underneath as a barrier, and then turn to catch, right? This is grasp the sparrow's tail, the first one. Because power is coming in, right, we can simply try to shift, try to avoid, and if the power changes, we have grasp the sparrow's tail. This other one, horizontal split hands, is difficult. You can't bring the power punch this way and reach your own elbow. So it's a more complex one. To answer Mark's question in an even more generic fashion, the Tai Chi postures are actually the only thing that everybody in the Tai Chi world agrees upon. How you transition between them, how much Fa Jing, we've talked about expression of power or display of power. Everybody argues about that, the transitions. But one thing we know is that hook and whip, this one is a posture. Now if you choose to do a yang style where everything's vertical and you keep everything within your Tai Chi space, the box, right? Follow which Tai Chi principles from a Chen style, from a yang style. They're all applying the same. But in the Chen style, they want to show the Fa Jing, the single whip. So their form may appear larger. Somebody there may be a hand-to-hand specialist, so they're doing the Fa Jing very, very differently. Horizontal split hands. Yeah, let's do Tai Chi, right? Let's do first, second, and third section. We have time. Start from someplace that's slightly off-center to the right. Bring the head top up. Relax your tailbone. Relax your shoulders. Bring your hands together in the center, and then bring your mind into the center. We're going to open, shoulder width wide. Sink the tailbone, breathe deep. Tai Chi, 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 the start of Tai Chi. Breathing, shift, avoid. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Ward off. Breathing. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Square step forward. Ward off. Roll back. Line up your feet, knees, and hips accurately. Turning 90 to the north. This is press. Breathing. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. horizontal, split hands. Hook. This is single whip. Turning back to the north, this is lift hands to up posture. Roll up. We're going to turn 90 degrees to the west. Crane, opening the wings. Sowe Pipa, Lo Shi, Kanshon. Square step back, Tui Bu. This is Bai Hu, Yang Si. Sowe Pipa, Lo Shi, Kanshon. Holding the moon in the chest. Open the left foot. Stepping. Feel the balance point. Punch. Ban Lan Shui. Corner. Parry. Punch. Rufong. Sleep. Press. Turn one foot. Turn the other foot. This is return tiger to mountain facing north. Bring the feet together. We're turning 180 to the south. After the palm press to the center from the square step, we breathe deep to roll back. So these movements for beginners are repeating. Roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Shuang an means press, press. Push, push. Horizontal. Split. Hook. Here we don't have a whip, we have turn back to look at the moon. Turn 180, block, cover, spear fist, and then repulse the monkey. Press. Center the balance in your feet. Breathing. Stepping back. Press. Breathing. Shurfei. Heidi Zen. San Tong Bei. Block, punch, kick. Lan. Shui. Di Bu Hua. Shen Bu Li. Remember, this is rollback. So after this one, we have press. Breathing deep, push. Look left. Glance right. Check to see that your hips are level. Your shoulders also. Double press. Straighten your neck when you turn. Split. Hook. This is a side whip, which means we're parallel, east and west, this way. And this is cloud hands in the second section. Press. Shifting the weight between the feet. Feel the center. Step and press. Press. Step. Press. Breathing. The owl shows hook. Corner whip, turning the square 90 degrees. This is Gao Tan Ma. And then Gao Tan Ma number 2. And then turning back to the east, scoop, brush, press, brush knee, C-step, press, brush knee, straight step, punch, turning, space helmet, block punch kick, fan shan pi shan shui, lan, punch. This is called so hua, bend the bar. Left deflect. Da li, grip your feet, use your leg strength to keep your spine upright. Big roll back, 2. Embrace a tiger. Going the other direction, roll back. Embrace a tiger, scoop the moon from the ocean. Two wings in the air, air from 1 air. Step back, pull left. Kick left, turning, 1, 2, facing the southwest, pull right, kick right, block, punch, kick to the west, square step, line, shui, roof, press, press, breathing deep, turn 90 degrees to the north, return tiger to mountain, bring the feet together, cover the head top, turning body, warning, palm, shuan, sen, kanshong. Press directly to the center, take a deep breath to roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. On your own, double press. Horizontal split. We're facing east. Hook. Parallel whip, side whip. Traveling to the east, this is wild horse, shaking its mane. Keep the hips and shoulders level. We can dip them for 1 second to let the opponent be fooled, and then bring it right back to its correct structure. Breathe deep to roll back. Join the palms together, pressing to the center to the east. Long breathing for push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal, split hands. Remember, San Pong Bei, fan through back. Hook. This is side whip, and this is 4 corners. Number 1. Press. Keep your spine level, looking over your shoulder, turning. This is 4 corners. Number 2. Breathing. Center. 3. Looking first, then turning. 4. Left grasp the sparrow's tail. That's a misnomer. I call grasp the sparrow's tail. It's called left press. And then right push. Just like the beginning. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double push. Horizontal split hands. Hook. This is a corner whip, which means I'm turning my square to the west, and then snake, creeping down, turning 90 degrees to the west, Jinji Doli. And on the other side, square step. Feel where the balance point is in your foot. Right into repulse the monkey. Press. Breathing. Number 3. Sherfei is open. Shoulder bump. This is a left-handed, right-footed Heidi Zhang. San Pong Bei. Turn, block, punch, kick. Square step, lan, shui, head top up, di bu hua, looking forward. Di bu hua means fold the knees, change step, breathe deep, and we're back to the basics. Roll back. press, push, look left, glance right, double push, horizontal, split hands, hook, side whip. This is cloud hands in the third section. Scoop and press right, left. Sanpong Bei, power goes from one hand to the other. Yin Sao, 3 of 3. Diao Shou is hook. Corner whip, turning the square to the west. Keep the waist turn going for this one. This is snake, flashing his tongue. Turn 180, pull with the right side. Kick with the right side. Cross kick. Square step. Brush low, we're facing east. Punch low. Half fold knees. Change step. Breathe deep, relax. To roll back. We're back to the beginning. Press. Forward. Breathing. Push. In a circle. Look left. Spine is straight. Glance right. Neck is straight. Double push. Going forward. East. Horizontal split hands from one corner to the other. The Diao Shou is hook. This is a corner whip. Turning my square west. This is the second snake creeps down, and when we step back, we step up to 7 stars. Turning 90 degrees to the north, this is Xuan Sen, Huahu, ride a tiger. And then turning 180 to the south, this is Bai Lian, square step back, Wong Gong Si Hu, open the bow to shoot a tiger. Block, punch, kick, controlled square step, Lan, Shui, Ru Feng, press, press, return tiger to mountain. Block, punch right, punch left, bring the left side back to the center, bring the hands back to the center. Take a deep breath. How you feel? All right. It's about 9:30. I do want to talk about one quick thing before we go. In the first section, the first part of the first section, after we do all of the sort of main course, split hands, hook whip, we have a posture that also uses, we've been practicing this one recently, the free-floating power, right? And we said when we transition from the first section to the second, we have that sort of free-floating power. There's something very, very early on in the form when we have hook and whip. If power is coming from this direction, that's when we do lift hands to up posture. If I face this direction, I have hook and I have whip. If power is coming from here, I'm letting the hands float because we're attacking somebody's elbow. And then split brush, press up, turning for crane. So we can talk more about that, but I wanted to talk about, because we have been talking about issuing effortless power, right? Generating power from gravity. This one, the hands already doing something, so they come back. Let's do a little bit of breathing. Take a nice, comfortable stance. Inhale, bring in all the energy, all the air, and like you're pressing it into the center. So opening everything, filling, and then as if you're pooling the energy into the center. Go at your own pace. And because time is limited, from wherever you're at now, do 2 to 3 more depending on your speed. last one, bring your feet together in the center. Bring your hands back together in the center. Move your mind into the Dantian. Take a second to smile to yourself. Internally, if you make sound internally, it doesn't cost you any energy. So when you meditate, I learned this from Master Su. She says, when you meditate, if you make a sound, zzz, that costs my throat chakra, has to use chi. And another energy source is the acupuncture points in my mouth are activated to create that sound. But inside, I can make that sound reverberate as loud as I like, echoing off the ceiling of the temple, as if 1,000 monks are shouting it. And it doesn't cost me anything, but the vibrational frequency is still there. So the same thing internally to your Dantian. You can have a whole choir say thank you to yourself. And it's free. It's a lot of power. So, take a deep breath. Internally, as loud as you like, say thank you to yourself, for yourself. That's it. If you have questions, comments, call, text, email me, and have a great weekend. Thank you.